Do you know what it's like to wake up every day and be ready and willing to sacrifice your life for the people of our country? Well, the men and women of our United States military know this feeling. Then one day they wake up and it's all over, and it's time for them to reacclimate into the normalcy of our civilian society.
My name is Dave Lershell. I served in the U.S. Army. A little later, I served in the U.S. Army Reserve and National Guard. I served in Vietnam in 1972. I was on active duty in California.
My name is Melissa West. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2005 to 2013. I had several different duty stations. My most notable would probably be my deployment to Kandahar, Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011 during the OAF campaign.
My name is Barry Duncan, and I was in the Army.
My name is Mark Parsons. I was in the Army, and I served in Evansville, Indiana. Deployed to Iraq on 2 deployments.
Did you know that 34% of our U.S. military says that when trying to reacclimate into society, they experience PTSD and flashbacks? And then a third of our military says that they experience something that is emotionally traumatic when in combat.
My transition from civilian life into the military and then from the military back into the civilian life was a little bit of a struggle.
My transition from military life back into civilian life was really difficult.
Everything in the military is structured, right down to your uniform, what boots you're going to wear, and everything. And in civilian life, it kind of it's quite a bit different.
Point Man really helped me tremendously deal with some things that were deep down that I didn't realize that I had.
My transition back honestly took several years, and if I'm honest, I think I'm still going through a transition back to civilian life, as do a lot of veterans.
Without veterans organizations like Point Man, it would have been very hard for me to get back on my feet.
The Point Man Ministries of Newburgh comes alongside the men and women of our armed forces as they try to reacclimate into society. Now, they don't just come alongside their practical needs, but also their spiritual. The men and women within the Point Man Ministries will testify to how much that this ministry means to them practically and spiritually.
And I had kind of repressed some of that anger and just hard feelings and things that have went on with being in a wartime situation down, and didn't even realize that I had done that till I got into Point Man and got into Reboot.
Once you live in that structure for a while, you get very comfortable with it, and once it's gone, it's a little bit hard to get used to it, let's say.
When I first came back, I came back to a country which I thought would be grateful for my service, but the country was badly divided at that time. It was a bad time. It was a different time. And so coming back, compressing, if you will, coming back after duty, had to deal with, those ghosts, if you will.
Very good friend of mine goes here to Crossroads for church, and he had been talking to me for some time about coming in and joining a veterans group, and I was pretty busy. It took him a little while to convince me, probably about a year, and finally I broke down one night and walked through the doors, I guess you could say.
I actually came into connection with Point Man several different ways. First would have been through a female veterans organization had introduced me to Point Man, and then my son actually started to go to school at Epworth Methodist, and Pastor Danny kind of roped me in to coming to Point Man, and getting a little bit more familiar with that. And I started going to the meetings.
I'm a member here at Crossroads Church, and got a word from there that they were doing their Monday night classes, and got into it like that.
Point Man has become an opportunity for me to serve my my veteran partners, if you will. Point Man has given me an opportunity to reach out to those folks and help them feel that there is a community there for them to join in as well.
Point Man, the ministry, impacted me personally because I got to connect on a more one-on-one level with my peers and other people who had the same experiences as me.
It, like I said, it has helped me tremendously deal with certain feelings and just certain things that come up almost on a daily basis.
They could relate on a more concentrated level than trying to speak to somebody who had no experiences with what I was dealing with.
It's very helpful for veterans to be around veterans. I don't have too many civilian friends.
God has presented opportunities where I'm going to say blessed, but I've learned from my good friend Danny Barr that thinking you're blessed is can't really be the end of it.
I can step in a room full of veterans and I feel comfortable. Whereas if I step in a room full of civilians, I feel out of place.
On a faith level, I think it makes it stronger just knowing that there are people and events out there that help you.
It has made me stronger in faith too, because, like I say, we are a Christian organization, but at the same time, we do accept anyone at any time where they are in their faith, whether they have any faith or not. And also, by encouraging those that show interest in becoming more in faith, it helps that quite a bit as well.
So for me, this was an opportunity for me to serve.
I've kind of walked the walk with them, mostly the combat veterans, and we understand one another, and the bond's there. It's all you got to do a lot of times is just walk in the door.